Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? It's the show where you control what's on the agenda. Ask us anything and we're blood-bound to answer. Starring Rick Nash, Corporate King, and the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katie Harvey. It's Ask Low Blows.
I feel like since we did 6 weeks of Game of Thrones coverage that we need to... we're recording now, by the way, Katie. Just so you know, I feel like I have to say this every time like we go live for Katie. I feel like since we did 6 weeks of Game of Thrones coverage, we do have to discuss, to kind of round it all off, the 2-hour documentary that was released the other night by HBO. Basically, it was charting all of... I thought it was just like a watch party or something. I didn't get it because I didn't pay too much attention to it. I was focusing on the actual content. So I just thought it was like, oh, they followed like the lads as they watched the last episode together. No, it was a documentary that was there for the entire of season 8 taping. Have either of you guys seen this yet?
Not yet. It's on the list to watch this week.
I think you both love it. It's like, especially because both of you like kind of have backgrounds in media and production and stuff like that. Like, it's production porn. It's the making of the biggest TV show on the world. So, and it's like, even like people who like worked on wrestling shows and stuff will even like it because it's like, they're really like what we do. Like, you know what I mean? It's just them out in fields or hanging around. They're just getting a coffee and fucking waiting for fucking ages. Like, but like what they do is they zone in on the character. They zone in on some of the production staff that you may not know. So it's not about Benioff and Vice. It's about like there's a character in it who's like an extra who's been in it since season 1. Like, he was in Stannis Baratheon's army, and then he was in the Night's Watch, and then he was in the Stark army.
No loyalty whatsoever.
And there should be loyalty. Like, when I was on Vikings, if you were assigned to an army or to a warrior, fucking you didn't eat with the Saxons, you know what I mean? Like, you stayed with your group for lunch and you stayed with your group on the field, like, during our downtime.
I think this guy is just so sound and just such a character that they just were like, they kept
Sounds
him
like
on.
a spy to me.
It's brilliant, but like they get access to everything, like, so they get access, and you see like kind of behind the scenes how secretive they were. So they didn't send the cast scripts. What they did was they did table reads, which is, for anyone who doesn't know production, it's just where they all sit around the table and they read out the script. But that was when the cast learned most things. Now, most of the time the cast will get their scripts beforehand, and the table read would be, let's put it all together based on the lines we've learned, and let's get practiced. But the cast were learning they were learning what happened to them, so they learned that they died as they're reading out the parts. So you get the cast reactions of them learning that they died and whatnot. Like, you get like it's not a spoiler, it's a documentary, but like, for example, Varys fucking pissed when like he was killed off. He was pissed. He literally got a script after saying the last line, he closed it and he just threw it away. And it was like, oh, wow, shit! Like, it's really interesting for little things like that. And it's just really good, like, because it's just like, you also kind of get an indication into why it felt rushed, because like you literally hear the production staff going, they've asked too much of us, this is insane, they couldn't do any more. So it's like they probably did rush it, but not because they like wanted to go, not because they wanted to be done with it. It's just like they just didn't have the time because they took on 6 movies. Like, you see the scale of the series and it gives you a whole newfound respect. Like, if you did leave the series feeling a bit like, oh, that's it, then it's like, no, this is what we got was actually ridiculous. So I'd really recommend it. It's on, if you got Now TV, you can get it with your subscription as well. So, and it's online through all the usual things. But anyway, guys, that's just our last bit of Game of Thrones talk. Unless you want us to talk about it, because this is the show where you control what's on the agenda. Ask Low Blows now going back weekly. So send in your questions. Thank you to everyone. It was a bit late notice because I just forgot. Yesterday was a busy day, and I forgot to put up the thing in a timely manner. So I think I put it up at like 11 o'clock, and then by this morning we had a full show's worth. So thank you guys for coming in when we needed it. Guys, all you have to do is tweet in and ask us whatever you like. Can be wrestling or otherwise, and we are blood bound to answer. People say it's a bit extreme to make people cut themselves for just a small podcast on a small podcast network, and I say no, it's a commitment. It's like, we take this shit seriously, guys. We've taken a blood oath that we will address your questions, if not completely satisfactorily answer them. Dave Bandana, I've talked nerdy to me on the Lobos Network, got in touch and asked, what would you name your boat if you had one?
Keith.
Keith the boat.
Or Dave. I mean, that's an alright
After
name.
Dave.
Yeah, it's an alright name for a boat, I think.
Would it be after Dave specifically, though?
If you wanted. So I just think that they'd be grand names for a boat.
It seems like this is a dream you've had for a long time.
I mean, sure. I don't understand the buzz about getting a boat. Like, it's on the water. I can't even. I mean, you're limited to water, aren't you? So
it's a lot of work though as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I don't really even know how they work. Like, where there's no petrol stations on the fucking sea, so where the fuck? What do you do about that? Like, you know what I mean?
That's a good question.
It
I
is
don't
a
know.
good question.
Can you like work a boat?
No, I can't work one. I do like boats though.
Okay.
I like being on them. I like looking at them.
Would you like to own one?
Yeah, if I don't have to put the work in, they are a lot of work.
Yeah.
My friend is a yacht master. I think that's what they're called.
Not just a regular yacht owner, a yacht master.
Well, see, that's the thing. He doesn't
Genuine.
he doesn't actually own a yacht. Maybe that's not what they're called. But like, he doesn't own a yacht. But what he does, he looks after other people's yachts. So like, all these rich people, like, they'll be like, "Oh, I would like my yacht brought from Croatia to Portugal," and he will fly to Croatia and like man the yacht to Portugal. That's his job.
That's fucking cool.
That's the insane
It sounds
job,
like he
isn't it?
deserves the master title. Like, to be fair,
Yeah,
that's his job.
He
like.
might have just told me that. That mightn't be the real title. He might have just said that to me.
That's just like full-time job.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and like we were in film school together, and like he only fell into this because he just came from one of them families that spent their weekends on yachts, so he got really good at like manning yachts. I don't know. I don't know any of the terminology. I just kind of like
Man the
boats.
yacht sounds like a thing.
Man the
people
yachts,
say.
yeah. I probably call my boat Titanic too. just to tempt fate. Like it can't happen twice. It won't happen twice to me.
I call mine Imana. So I'm just like, I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. It's before your time.
Oh, okay.
Did you see a video Phil made of when we were in London last weekend? Because we went. Did you see it? He's a fucking shit. He is. Because we went to walk around a boatyard because I like looking at boats. And next thing I see him, and he's just kind of swinging from me to the boat. And then I watch a video back, and it's just him going, boats and hoes, boats and hoes. And like swinging the camera to me every time he sang about hoes. I wasn't impressed.
Absolutely inspired. Phil. Let's continue that. Sean McSaurin got on and asked, any opinions on the League of Ireland, a.k.a. the greatest league in the world, hopefully specifically Bohs?
Well, fuck Bohs, right. Fuck Bohs.
Okay.
But I respect the League of Ireland. I don't actively follow it. I don't go to matches. I barely watch it on RT. But I hate this whole idea of like lads who are like, oh, up the rah, you know what I mean? Yeah, Ireland, yeah. And then like they'll watch the Premier League, and that's fine. I don't mind watching the Premier League. I watch the Premier League. It's up there with like fucking like Serie A, La Liga. It's like it's more of a global thing than a UK thing.
Yeah.
But I hate when they like disrespect their own country's football league, and it's like. But I've heard people say, oh, I wish we had something like the Premier League, but like over here. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, well, then support the League of Ireland. That's the point. You know what I mean? It's not going to get any bigger without your support. You know what I mean? It's not the best league in the world, but I just think it should be respected if you like football. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
It actually, do you know what it is? Do you know what it reminds me of right now? It reminds me of Irish wrestling before now. Like, Irish wrestling right now is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But there was a time when, you just wouldn't really go to an Irish wrestling show because it's not something you really thought about. You'd be watching WWE, but you wouldn't think, oh, wouldn't it be cool if that was here? So, but eventually everyone started going to Irish wrestling shows, and eventually it got bigger, it got better, and now we're here. I think Irish football is going to hopefully take the same path.
It's getting there very quickly. Shamrock Rovers and Bohs had like 10,000 people at their last kind of Dublin derby, so it's like massively exploding.
And obviously,
so it's great to see.
Rovers are the better of the two, clearly.
Yeah.
Me and Declan Byrne.
You're wrong.
Well, I'm not wrong.
He's
so,
wrong.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Oh my God, that is mad. Actually, you're Bohs, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I live in Tallaght, so I'm Rovers then. Do you know what I mean? So that's mad. That would have to be the way, though, wouldn't it? Like,
Yeah, of course.
Well, see, I'm what you call a forced football fan.
Right.
As in, like, Phil, who I live with, loves football. So, by extension, I have to take a passing interest in football because Sky Sports News is a regular fixture in my house. I swear to God, sometimes I fall asleep and all I can hear is the Sky Sports News fucking music ringing in my ears. I went to a Bohs match and it was the Derby with Rovers and it was great crack. And the thing you need to know about me is I don't like watching football on the telly, but I will happily go to a live match. I love being part of a mob. It is one of my favourite things in the world.
Green Street 2, starring Katie Harvey.
Went to the FA Cup final last week and I was like, why are people not having scraps outside the stadium? I was well up for it. Like.
Everyone else is an advocate for, like, you know, stopping football violence and hooliganism in Dublin. You know what I mean? It's about football. It's not about the riots. And you're just like, yeah, riots.
I bought my tickets off a dodgy resale site, right? And I know you're supposed to buy them through the club, but they have some stupid rule. If you haven't been to a club match that season, you can't buy the big matches. So I took my chances, got sent Watford tickets when we are City fans. So we went to the City fan zone and we're wearing our jersey stripes. And I'm like, it'll be fine. I'll just tell them and they'll move us. It'll be fine. It was not fine. We got into the stadium and I pulled a man stand. I was like, look, put on a bit of a sob story, a bit of a white lie. Me ma got me these tickets. She doesn't understand football. You know, she bought them for the wrong side. Anything you can do. When he stopped laughing, this is a solo FA Cup final. There's nothing I can do. And, like, I just look at Phil, who is crushed because he fucking loves City. Yeah. Like, they're his life. And, like, he has to go sit in a Watford section now. So we did have to watch the first half in the Watford section, which wasn't great. But I did talk our way into the City section, so that was much better. But, like, before we got put over, one of the lads was like, look, I'll let you into the Watford section, but you have to keep your jerseys covered up. He's like, I mean, that could start a riot. I should have been scared. I was thrilled. I was like, oh, really? I was like, if this blue collar poked up over my jumper. And, like, David Silva scored the first goal. I had him for first goal score, like, in the bookies. Yeah. So, of course, like, I'm there myself, like, yeah, come on. And he's like, shut the fuck up before people notice. And I was like, but what if they do notice? I just love a good mob.
I feel like we're learning so much about Katie these past couple of months, like pro-slavery, pro-hooliganism, pro-riots, like, Jesus. At Joe Stodge got on and asked, what's the worst cast actor in a live-action superhero role?
Oh, God. Trying to think of someone.
Edward Norton didn't fit for Incredible Hulk.
Wasn't great there,
yeah,
no.
Didn't work.
No.
That's I'm not like, I'm not one of those who has that instant kind of superhero movie like kind of knowledge. I like MCU stuff that kind of got me into it.
Yeah.
I'm only kind of becoming obsessive about it now, so I'm late to the game.
Is this stemming from Robert Pattinson being announced as Batman?
It could be, but I don't want to put that on Joe.
Yeah.
I don't want to cast aspersions on his behalf.
I generally like to give actors a chance. Like, people shit on Ben Affleck as Batman. I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I thought he was good.
He did. He didn't get a lot to work with, but he did fine with it.
Like, he's Batman. He's handsome and mysterious. That's great. Like, people shit on him as Daredevil. Didn't really bother me. I just thought the movie was bad rather than him as Daredevil.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anyone that jumps out at me as really, really bad.
Edward Norton was just kind of ill-conceived for me.
Yeah.
It was just like, I don't see how you think I think he was Banner. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know how you got there, like, unless you just wanted to work with Edward Norton. Keane, your thoughts?
Yeah. Edward Norton, man. Big Eddie Norton. Can't say I'm a fan. I thought his Chalice work was a bit off, and he was a bit kind of like just a bit of a letdown. I didn't feel like his selling was a bit off. The psychology wasn't there, and I feel I'm gonna have to go with Norton.
All right, fair enough. Simpsons WWE, completely different person, by the way. Got on and asked, what is your favorite flavor soup?
Butternut squash.
Right, interesting.
Soup's nasty. Get away with that shit.
What?
Yeah, soup's disgusting.
Love
so
soup.
Young.
That's all I could have for 2 weeks, drinking soup through a straw when I couldn't use a knife and fork.
I'd rather just die, to be honest. Like. Soup's horrible. Whoever invented soup, man, just...
I love a good soup.
What's your favorite soup?
It's horrible. It's not even... It's not food, though, is it? You know what I mean? It's just like...
Just dip your bread into
Get
it.
a whole cheese sandwich and dip it into
Yeah.
a
You
chicken
know, it's even
soup.
better not dipping your bread in it and just eating bread without fucking soup ruining it. I hate soup. I hate that question was even asked. I feel sick now.
I did not expect that response. I like having more cream of chicken, personally, but I feel like that's kind of buried. Kento's CCFC got on and asked, Keane, this one's for you, I think. You literally were eating chicken nuggets when you got here. How many chicken nuggets do you think you could eat in one sitting? No fries or anything like that, just nuggets. I'm going to add a caveat, no drink either.
Yeah, you see, the problem with that is that he didn't specify. Like,
No
nuggets,
sauce.
No, yeah, I don't eat sauce anyway. The thing is, it's the fact that you just said nuggets. It's like, are you talking McDonald's nuggets? Are you talking Burger King nuggets? Are you talking Tesco nuggets, Dunn's nuggets, Little nuggets? And, I mean, it's a different answer for each one. Like,
Well, give them then. You're the expert.
you see, McDonald's nuggets, probably not as many as you think. I don't really like McDonald's nuggets that much. That's why I wasn't eating nuggets. I was actually eating McDonald's chicken strips.
Oh, sorry.
Chicken strips are lovely.
Are they not just nuggets, though?
Select, sorry. No, because they're different. They taste different.
They're goujons.
Yeah, they're like Goujon, yeah.
But it's not just breaded processed chicken.
No, it's different. Okay. This is the sort of shit I get offended about.
This is fashion, like.
Somebody could slag me personally, slag my family, slag they can get as deep as they want to get. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Selects are the same as the nuggets. No, they're fucking not. So to answer your question, I don't know. Like, it kind of depends.
Burger King is your go-to, though.
No, McDonald's, because chicken selects. That's the king. But if we're talking nuggets,
So you don't actually like nuggets?
no, I do. But selects are the king, though.
Well, how do you feel about chicken fries?
I love chicken fries.
They're
Oh, that's the Burger King
Love a
ones,
good
isn't
Yeah.
chicken fry.
Is that the chicken? Is that the same as chicken strips? That's not chips. I don't think I've had them then.
They're fries for chicken. Like, they're big, skinny bits of chicken.
Oh, I actually don't think I've had them.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, you
I
like
should
them.
probably
You
have
need
them.
to get it. Yeah,
I should-
you'd
they might
all
be
about
my-
them.
Oh, they might be my chicken selects.
What would the most, would you say, chicken nuggets you could eat? Of your choosing, whichever brand.
Well, the best ones, and I don't even know what the best ones are. It kind of depends on my mood.
You need a number, though.
Depends on my mood.
20... No, that's very 20.
Like, in one sitting.
Were you going to say 20,000?
I was 29. Something like that.
I feel like we have to put this to a test on a later low blows.
Sure.
We'll give it a go. Kenny 2622 got on and said this weekend saw the debut of AEW. It had great matches and good shocks. What I'd like to know is, what's your Subway order?
So I actually went to Subway on Sunday before OTT.
Nice.
Footlong hearty Italian, ham and turkey, sweet onion sauce, with tomato and onion.
Have you seen my video yet? No.
No.
Okay, this is the reference
Is
to
it going
that.
to call me a pervert for liking Subway?
No, this because
A future video is going to call me a pervert for liking Subway.
for anyone who's seen the video, basically, my answer is a large can of soda and a foot long, just like my hero, the Undertaker, who also has that when he goes Subway. You're just gonna have to watch it. I can't explain it. You're just gonna have to watch it.
Okay.
it's worth checking out. I'm similar. I do turkey and ham as well. I'm not a big Subway guy. I've gone off in the past few years. Used to chicken teriyaki, and then it just wasn't for me.
I hate
anymore.
Subway in reality. I've never had Subway. I don't even know how to go in and order something because it's just.
Are you like my ma? I took her to Subway once and thought she's going to have an emotional breakdown at the choices.
What the fuck do you ask for? Like, is there no chicken nuggets and chips?
No.
Then what do you ask
It's
for?
a
then?
sandwich.
It's a sandwich shop.
I
You pick your bread, you pick your meat, you pick your toppings, you pick your sauce.
Can I have bread and butter at least? Is that an option?
They don't have butter in Subway.
They don't have butter.
Yeah, no, it's mad.
So can I have bread like on its own?
But like you put sauce and cheese and all
You
on
could
it.
have bread.
You toast it.
I don't want any of that.
The cookies are the best thing about
Yeah.
Subway.
Oh, I can eat them,
I'll
actually.
give you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair. Declan Byrne 31 got on and asked, my question is more for Katie Harvey, but it seems like there's a story here. But you can all answer if you want. Have you ever had a bad experience with a fan at a show who went the wrong way with trying to get a picture with you or being rude to you in person at a show?
Like if someone asks for a picture, I generally just take it. Like I don't think I've ever done it to cause anything to be overly rude.
Katie actually big leagues fans. I see it all the time. She just doesn't want to say it on a podcast. That's fine.
Have you ever had a bad experience? Has someone come up approached you in a bad way, though?
Like if someone's a fan, they're generally going to be nice to you,
Yeah.
you know, unless
Yeah,
you give
to be
them a
fair.
reason not to be. Like I suppose the only bad experience is, you know, that awkward thing where they've said hello, you've had a bit of a conversation, and then they don't really leave, but they also don't carry on a conversation. So you're just in that awkward kind of...
Oh, stop, please
Yeah,
stop talking,
like-
I can feel it.
They just stand and listen to your pre-existing conversations.
Yeah, and it's just like I get secondhand embarrassment for them, and they're like, but like there's just nothing holding us there, and it's worse because I really like to watch wrestling shows. Like when I'm not on them or after I've wrestled, I'll nearly always go out to the crowd and watch. And like it happens sometimes where I'm watching the show and like that situation happens, but I just actually really want to watch the matches. And it's
I love not having to sell merch or like be that guy anymore, because now, like, especially my age, like, I just don't give a fuck anymore. So I will say to people, I'm like, I'm watching this, I'm in the middle of, so I will be with you afterwards if you want something. Like, not that it happens to be that often.
Or sometimes if they get a bit smarky and they try to make smart insider comments, and you're just like, I just like wrestling, like or like they say like shitting on WWE or something. You're just like, I like it, like.
I hate when people I hate when people, when I'm sitting at a show, I'm trying to get like caught. And normally I'm sitting with friends. This doesn't really happen that much, but like when you're like trying to watch a show and trying to get sucked in, like emotionally, you're trying to be like feel like in it, if that makes sense. And someone keeps talking to you and keeps interrupting it, and you're sucked out of it.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched the show with you, was one thing I picked up on, because I think I like not chatting about the show, but like I like chatting about the match that we're seeing, but you're not like that. You're like, you stop and will watch and ingest everything. It's really like, it's good to see.
When did I watch a show with you?
I think the one I remember was Contenders. Where we talked about.
Oh yeah.
And like, I think I just like, I like having the chats about the match while like something's going on. Whereas you're just like, boom, laser focus. Tell me the story. I want to get every second of this.
I also feel, because it's different when you're sitting like near the back. When you're sitting kind of like at the front, I feel a bit kind of disrespectful when lads are trying to like wrestle.
Yeah,
and that is one of my pet hates when you see people having a conversation in the front row when you're wrestling.
It's like
no, like it wouldn't be like I'd have a conversation. It's just like you'd say something.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, that was class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like that. I like having that. Like, I don't like saying, what do you think about his prospects? I'm not like that. I'm not like full on reviewing it, Dave Meltzer it in the front row. But like, I'll do that. But Keane does not, like, you don't abide by that.
It's different usually if I'm watching it like on a screen, unless it's an important match to me. Like with WWE, I don't really care. If it's Apollo Crews against Elias, something like that, I'm like, that's fine. We can have a chat. Like, especially if it's like a long, 4-hour show, 4 in the morning, whatever. That's different. But if I'm watching it live in front of me, in front row, I'm like, come on, this, I don't know. I don't know if this is exactly answering Declan's question.
No, we're going on a tangent, but that's what we do.
But yeah, that's my opinion. I know.
We used to have, back in the day with Irish Whip, we used to have a guy who come to shows. I don't think he comes anymore. I haven't seen him in years, but he used to come to shows, and literally, like, he was like a fucking ninja. Like, he'd be in front of you, and like, this before selfie cameras, so like, he'd have like fucking one of those disposable cameras, and you'd hear the click, and then you're like, I just took a photo with that guy. What the fuck? And he'd never say anything to you. And then you see these things on social media. You're like, what the fuck? When was that picture taken? Like, how did you do that? That's ridiculous. Henda the Great got on and asked, favourite piece of wrestling memorabilia in your collection. We'll start with you, Keane.
Give me an example of memorabilia. Like what?
Like t-shirt, merch. Can be anything. Can be toys. Can be posters.
There's my John Cena chain gang necklace that I have.
Yes,
excellent.
I have the Thug Life knuckle things.
Brought it in one week.
Oh my god, I love that.
Before your time.
Yeah, that's. I think it was like my first like proper like full episode low blows. I had like the things. Also, t-shirts, the Rowan Empire shirt that I have signed by Bray Wyatt, which is really cool. When I see Eric Rowan, that's the first thing I'm going to give him to sign. Someday, I'm sure I'll meet him. Hopefully, that's the goal. And yeah, I suppose that really.
Okay.
I love memorabilia. I try pick it up where I can, and especially because I'm in a position where I get to meet wrestlers. Yeah. I try pick up what I can. I have Mick Foley's book signed by him. I got him to sign it when he was at OTT, and it's fallen apart. I've read it so many times. And
I think mine is too.
But he was like, "Oh, this is really well read," and I was like, "Yeah, like the fact that you signed it now is
where
like
the pages
whopper."
Sticking together.
No, that didn't happen. I went to see SmackDown when it was live in the ODS, you know, the outdoor one, and Stone Cold was there.
Right.
I have a beer can from Stone Cold.
Oh.
Because me and my friend talked
Really
our way
cool.
into the front row, and like he did all the beer things and stuff, and then there was loads of cans lying around. So the security lad was just like, we were like, can we have that? Can we have that? And he's like, you want this empty beer can? yeah.
That is really cool.
So that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
still in my ma's house. Haven't brought it to my new house. And then I
Nice.
just collect Hasbros and stuff. Like one of my
Yeah.
pride ones is my Terry Funk one that I have kept in the box in case I ever meet him.
Yeah.
Because I will get him to sign it.
I've one of them, but Eva Marie. I got it off John for my birthday. It's really cool. I like it.
Nice. That's the most John gift ever. As well. I've spoken about this before. Though I was never a memorabilia or merch guy until after I finished wrestling and started Low Blows, because it was like, oh well, like I'm doing fan things, so I may as well like start getting into it, like and like actually checking this out. And then I actually became interested in it. Stuff I'd wear. I wear my Finn Balor zip up like nearly every week for the Low Blows taping into it. It's the demon one where you can zip it over your face. I think I've done it on the show before. And also I'd always wear my Los Ingobernables hoodie as well. Like I wear that like every day. It's like, and it doesn't look like a wrestling thing, like it's just a cool looking fucking hoodie, and it's really comfortable as well, so I wear that. I'm mad for a zip up, like, so yeah, that's me. Pretty boring answer, but yeah, that's true. Clueless Nerd got on us with Starr Vs Walter, and by the looks of it, Devlin Maxer being the latest chapter in the ongoing Devlin Walter Starr's feud. Where do you think this storyline as a whole ranks compared to some of the top storylines, the likes of WWE, WCW, ECW, etc.? If we're talking, like, is this one of the best storylines ever?
The very top. I fucking love this. I love this storyline. Every single show, every single thing that happened, there's so many layers to it. There's so many details. You can talk about this in so much detail for such a long time. I fucking love it. I think it's great, intentional or otherwise. Like things, you know, like for example, the Ospreay thing where he got replaced with Starr. That was kind of, that just happened. You know what I mean? But like, it was fucking cool. And like, I don't know, just there's so much to it. I think it's great. So I'd put it at the top. Fuck it.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing that's kind of built Irish wrestling, isn't it? Like, and made it as sustainable as it is. Like, it's, I just, even within Europe, I think it's one of the most important storylines we've had. Like, people outside of Ireland will reference this storyline because they've seen the Sean Ryan videos.
Yeah.
You know, they've heard the stories about the matches. It's almost like, oh my God, where were you when Devlin bet Jordan? Like, everyone kind of has that, like, story.
And Devlin bet Jordan.
Sorry, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I knew you were going to. As soon as you said that, I was like, she's not going to. No.
And you know what? Because I get really paranoid about saying Walter, because some people say Walter and some people say Walter, and I don't want to be a dick, so I avoid saying his name sometimes. So that was subconscious.
I don't know. I try not to think of it in terms of ranking it. I think it's the best Irish feud there's ever been.
Yeah.
I easily, like, it's not even close. Although at the same time, I have to say, like, for me, and I don't know because I haven't seen the content, and it does sound really good and like it fits the feud, but I'm like, I feel like I've now seen the end of it. I feel like at Scrappermania when Jordan won, it was like the movie has ended, and I'm like, when it's like keep going, like I get it if it's building to Devlin Starr. I think that's a new feud, and like I know that was part of it, but like I'm okay with that, and that probably is where it's going. But I'm like, all right, yeah. I hope that for me, I hope Starr Walter is the last kind of involvement of Walter, and it probably will be. He's the NXT UK champion, so that I guess that'll be where it's going. But I'm like, yeah, that was perfect. It was, and that ending was the perfect ending. You know what I mean? Do you know if like a movie then does a sequel where it's like, no, it finished, and it was great. Like let's leave it because it ended perfectly. You can't end it any better. But also Devlin Starr have their story to tell. But I'd see that as separate, if that makes sense, even though it is connected in a way. Killer Steve W got on and asked, how different do you think the UK and Irish wrestling scene would be if WWE hadn't become involved with promotions and launching their own UK brand? How different? That's an interesting one.
One good thing that's come out of them launching the brand, right, is they signed up so many people that it's forced promotions to build more stars and to give more people opportunities.
Good point.
But on the other hand, I can also see how it's hamstringing some promotions, you know, who did spend years building up and now have all these unreliable people who can pull out at a moment's notice. It's hard to know whether it's been a positive or negative influence yet, I think.
We won't know. Like, that story hasn't finished.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to find out in future years. Keen?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. We just don't really know. Like, progress I think it kind of, I don't want to say it killed them, I don't want to be too dramatic, but they were at one point really, really likable. Like one of the most loved promotions ever. And it's kind of like the WWE thing kind of killed that a little bit. But then you're also like, would it have gotten stale? Would they have been using the same lads over and over again? Like when you look at a lot of the NXT lads now, some of them are people that never get talked about anymore. Like for example, like Flash Morgan Webster is someone who everyone used to always talk about. But I haven't heard anyone mention him in ages. And I don't know if would they still be talking about him if the indies were the way it always was? Like, is this an NXT UK thing? I don't know. Like, would it have gotten stale? Would it have been better? I don't know. I think, yeah, we just have to wait and see. Like,
for me, I see this so far, and there's time for them to rally and rebound. I see this so far as WWE have been successful in their objective to neuter the threat of the UK wrestling scene to them, if that makes sense. Think of what World of Sport would have been like if you had Pete Dunne, Mustache Mountain, etc. All the big names. Think of how much of a threat that would be. Would that have affected AEW? They're planning on doing the UK is a big part of their plan. They're planning on doing pay-per-views in the UK and whatnot. So would they have been able to do that if the UK was still a stronger force? If World of Sport had taken off in the way that it hoped to? Look, ITV mightn't have gotten better with the AEW. Like that's a possible knock-on consequence. I think the UK, if they had held strong and if they hadn't gone with the end, and I don't blame anyone for doing it either, though. That was the right call for the wrestlers involved, 100%. Like, so it just is what it is. But if it hadn't happened, the UK scene, we don't know how big it would have gotten because it was on the verge of exploding in its own right. But WWE saw this and did what WWE do. I don't know if it'll necessarily be better for the wrestlers in the long run. Who knows? We can't tell. We will be able to tell in future. That's where I agree with you. But that's the way I see it. I see WWE successfully cut out the threat from the UK scene. Stagmore13 got on and asked and said that he's only realised that Bobby Lashley has no eyebrows and has them drawn on, and he's weirded out by it. What strange features of wrestlers worldwide and of Irish industry wrestlers weird you out? It's a bit weird talking about like physical features of people we know. So we'll maybe keep it to like
Seth Rollins has a really long neck. And Kane apparently has an outie belly button. So there you go. If that's something you're into, I mean,
I genuinely did learn that on that. That was the one part I found interesting of your man's like.
I gotta be honest.
This is Corporate Keen's video, by the way, for anyone who doesn't get the reference.
I didn't really care. Like I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Like,
it's what makes people different, isn't it? So it's not something I ever catalog in my head.
I wouldn't be like, look at this person's face. So different. Yeah. I mean, they're people. Like,
I don't know if he's like making fun, but it's just like it does. I kind of get where he's coming from. Like people who, I won't say names because I don't want to be bad either, but like people who have massive amounts of body hair make me uncomfortable.
Oh, see, I love that.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know.
Men who look like gorillas.
It just became for me. Well, like I think we're talking about different things. But for me, it's like we're wrestling. Like this is just my OCD. When I came into it, we had it drilled into us where it's like, if you have body hair, it's fucking disgusting and you're so disrespectful and you can't do this. How are you supposed to give someone a headlock if you've got hairy armpits and blah blah blah? So that gave me body dysmorphia, where I now feel that is the most filthy thing because that was drilled into me at a very young, impressionable age. So if I see that, I get that, but I also realise that what you're saying, it makes people different, it makes people stand out, it gives them a unique look. So I understand that logically, but emotionally, if I see it, I feel like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like just because I have that in my head, you know, that weird complex. But that's a me thing. That's not. There's something wrong with it, you know what I mean?
I suppose Christian always had a weird shade of tan, didn't he? That's something that's...
Yeah.
Like, you just never really... Like, that's not a tan you get in Canada.
Quite deep, like. Yeah, Jesus, in the fucking snowy mountains, like, yeah, what the fuck. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Chris Jack85 said, ICW take more than hype away from Irish wrestling for good. No! And try to mould them into a more Glasgow way of wrestling. Which member becomes the new Grado, the new Chris Renfrew, and the new Lionheart? This feels built for you, Corporate.
Well, Psycho Nathan's, I suppose, I love that ended up being Chris Renfrew.
Yeah.
And then Darren's got a similar kind of personality to Grado. So
Yeah, you could go either way with the other
yeah,
two, couldn't you?
Yeah, because initially I was LJ Grado and then Darren Lionheart, but I swapped it around. I think I'd put
They
Darren,
can both do comedy and both do main event.
Yeah,
Stuff like.
I put Darren as Grado just because it's kind of like the Grado reminds me a bit of like the Pro Wrestling Ulster Darren, and then by default then LJ Lionheart.
Okay, interesting. Trey_C got on and asked, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but cast is Irish and European wrestlers. She said we can gender swap as well. Sabrina, kind of...
Amy Alonzi.
Yeah. You're Zelda.
What?
You're Zelda. Zelda's like the mommy, the one who takes responsibility of everything. Like, you're a Zelda. 100%. Hilda is like kind of kooky and crazy and... Like, she's the wild one. Like, she's the cool aunt. Who's the cool aunt? Not saying that you're not the cool aunt.
That's kind of what you're saying. Well, it's
I'm
fine.
just, no, but no, she's like the crazy aunt, whereas Zelda's the one who keeps it all together. I'm not saying you're not cool. You seem genuinely offended by this.
No, I was
You're
actually
the mommy, like.
I was just thinking, well, if we're going for maybe Raven Creed, she'd be a kooky auntie.
Yeah. I
But
agree
she'd
with
shank you rather than, like, make a joke.
that. This is true, yeah.
Justy could be Salem.
Yeah,
Just
easy.
the wise, cracking cat.
Valkyrie, like, especially WoW Queen Valkyrie, would be Libby.
Yes.
Yeah. She's got that big... Or Debbie. No, Debbie would be a Libby.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even, like, they have a similar look, like. Who else?
Keane doesn't know who's in Sabrina,
Who's
does he?
Harvey?
Handsome Darren Kearney.
Yeah. Who else? Are there any others? Who's the other characters? Who's the principal?
All I have is
That's
the
it.
image of Kevin Nash in my head when he appeared in Sabrina.
That's it. I think we've covered. I think that's all the character. The principal. Yeah, I don't know. Owen_Davis1 said, what essential life skills do you not currently have, e.g. cooking, washing? I can't drive and absolutely no intention of learning. Me and Keane were talking about this question beforehand and we are like, I don't think Katie will be bad at anything in this question.
I have apparently been using our washing machine wrong for 3 years.
What?
Yep.
How have you been using it?
I don't know. Phil watched me use it the other day, and apparently I've been putting the powder into the wrong thing in the washing machine, and apparently you're not supposed to kick it shut. And
yeah, you're definitely not supposed to.
Yes, apparently that's wrong. Apparently you have to empty water out of it.
Oh, right.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I just apparently have been doing it wrong for 3 years. I also can't cook at all.
Really?
Don't know how to work an oven. We don't have an oven, so that's probably why.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, can't cook. I can drive and do DIY. That's what I contribute to our household.
Right. Okay. You're like a terrible mother. Because you're the mommy and it's like, I can't cook. The fuck?
But like I can clean and I can like do the shopping and put things away and stuff like that. I just can't cook or do the washing.
Okay, interesting.
I also hate the washing up. I can do it, but I fucking hate it.
I don't mind washing up, but I live alone, so I'm washing for one, so there's never much. But like, I'm kind of competent in that, like, yeah, I can run a house by myself and like it's a well kept home, but for me transport is where I fall down. I can't drive and I can't cycle a bike, so me getting myself places is my massive downfall. There was an interesting one someone put up. I'd love to see a poll on how many wrestling fans can and can't drive. They think there's going to be an extraordinary amount
do
of
it on wrestlers.
Yeah.
I swear to God, for about 5 years, I was the only wrestler in the country that drove, and then me and Alexander Dean had to buy 7-seaters just to cart people around, like.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm going to put that up on Twitter because that is fascinating. I think we're going to get like 90% can't drive. Corporate Keen, this one is built for you.
Yeah, if I was basically tasked with like running the house by myself, I'd be dead probably within a week. Yeah, can't cook, can't fucking DIY, can't fucking... what other tasks are? Can't drive, can't fucking walk. Can't.
I like how you don't know what the tasks are.
No, I'm so I don't know. I can make cereal. Like if you put the milk in, just don't put
Could
too
you
much
put
in.
money in the bank?
No. I've never.
Do you know how to use a post office? Like, if I gave you a letter to send, would you know what to do?
Obviously.
Would you know what stamps to get?
What? No, I don't know how to use the post office. I mean, I've never sent a letter. Why would I? I've been social media.
Oh my god!
You've never sent a letter?
Oh my god!
No, it's just text someone like.
No, see, I'm the kind of person that handwrites cards and sends them through the post.
Aww.
That's because you're a nerd. Who does that? Like?
Can you really not do any of that?
No, I can't do anything. I'm proper
Could
useless.
you do like grocery shopping?
Like put it in the trolley and then just scan it and walk away? Like,
Yeah, but like, would you know like how like things that you'd have to buy to live
Yeah, could you do a shopping list?
for myself,
to keep yourself alive for a week?
I eat a lot of Pringles, and that's my diet. So
Like, you
yeah.
need to look after yourself. Would you know what you'd have to buy? Like, you don't have to be able to wash it, but would you know to buy washing up liquid?
No.
Can you get around? Like, say if you had to get yourself to the airport and back, could you? Like, can you read maps? Can you?
Well, I know how to get to the airport. Like, what? Like, I can't drive there, but I can get a bus there. Like, I can get a 16
So
there.
you know how to figure out the buses and the maps and all that.
Yeah, that's actually. There you go. I see. I'm not
Okay,
useless.
that's
Right,
I
can
know
you
one
get a flight? Because a lot of people can't use
Oh
an
no,
airport.
Nicola had to help me out all that. We went to England. I had no idea. Apparently, if you don't like, what is it? If you don't fucking check in, it costs like €100 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? What's that about?
Well, if you don't check in, they won't let you on the
Yeah,
flight.
like, you need
What?
to check in to get... That's what checking in is. Letting them know I'm here and getting my flight.
I mean, they'd know I'm there based on the fact that I'm fucking sitting down on their plane.
Yeah, but if you show up to
You
an
wouldn't get
airport
on the
without a
flight.
Well, show
boarding
them a
card,
ticket.
like that's £60 to print your boarding card.
Right.
Would you know, like, I'm trying to just think of life skills here. Like, what have I done this week? Like book a doctor's appointment for yourself.
No, I don't want to go to doctor. I hate doctors. I'll just
You
die.
don't do any of that? Like,
No.
okay.
I'll take that. Like,
Give me a nice clean death.
yeah, I mean, it's a risk, but I'd rather not to go to doctor.
Could you change a light bulb?
No.
Can you
I'd-
iron?
What?
Iron? No, you don't.
Any skill. And it's just like, nope.
I remember I lived with a guy for like 6 months, and he did enough around the house, and it was his first time living away from home. Also a wrestling fan, by the way. Maybe tip my hat too much here, but he at one stage, like, I'm like, the light bulb wasn't being checked, and everything that needed to be bought for the apartment, I was like, I'm buying it. Like, I'm buying new fucking tea towels and this and that, and washing up liquid and all. So I just gave him one job. I'm like, can you sort out the light in the hall? Because I'm like, it's literally changing the light bulb. It's buy a light bulb, put it in. And then eventually, like, after 3 months, I'm like, how have you not changed that light bulb yet? What the fuck? He's like, how do you change the light bulb? I'm like, are you fucking for real? Like, how have you not YouTubed this? He's like, you can YouTube this stuff? I'm like, yes! This is how everyone learns.
Like, when I decided to move out, right, and move into my own flat, the best present I ever got of anyone was my dad. I think I've told this before. Got me a little toolbox and filled it with the essentials to
That's
do little
nice.
jobs myself.
Yeah.
He showed me how to change a tire. He showed me how to change a light bulb. He showed me how to put up a shelf. He showed me all and like packed my little toolbox for the day I moved out of home.
Aww.
And like, it's the nicest present I've ever been given, but it was
That's
so
really
practical
nice.
as well. Like,
Yeah, that's right. I didn't get a lot of that. Like, I always slag my parents for letting me down with that stuff. Like, just doing it for me rather than teaching
Yeah.
me how to do it. Like, even these days, I'll go to them and they'll offer to do it. Like, they're nice. They're not bad people, but they'll just do it for you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, show me. I want to know, like, because I need to know. But yeah, YouTube is your friend with that stuff. You
Yeah.
can YouTube all of this stuff, Cobra King. If you're ever stuck, just YouTube.
What I'd love to know is who throughout their day is like, you know what I should do right now? Make a video teaching people how to do the washing.
I was at an interview last week and I hadn't tied a tie in in about a year. I hadn't tied a tie and I felt so stupid because I'm like, I was just getting it wrong and I'm like, I know I tied a tie like every day for work for years when I used to wear a suit, but I just like forgot and brain froze and had to watch a YouTube video. Would you be able to tie a tie?
I was going to say, badly. I used to do it for school.
Right.
What I used to do was like, just to make life easier, I'd like keep it tied, but then like loosen it when I was taking it off, so I didn't have to keep tying it. So I'm actually quite bad at it. Like I haven't tied a tie in about 2 years.
Yeah, well, look, I think a lot of people would be the same. Like, it's not like if you don't wear a tie in your day-to-day life, you haven't worn it in a while. So
Yeah,
that's
I
not
wasn't.
that
I
bad.
wasn't very good at it.
All right, interesting, guys. Tweet us in your ones, because that's an interesting one. Bittersweet Chin End, last but not least. The votes are in, the people have spoken, and they nominated you to be Supreme Ruler of Ireland for one day only. You're given the power to abolish one law, tweak one law in some way, and create one law from scratch. Pick your laws and why. Katie isn't allowed to reinstate slavery. At the end on a dig. Abolish one law.
now I feel like I get very political here. Abolish one law.
No, I get political if you want. That's fine.
I hate this because it's a really good question, but I just didn't fucking think about it in advance.
Yeah, I should have, like, maybe the anonymity law where, you know, if someone's a victim, they have to name the victim to name the perpetrator.
Right.
I think for really bad crimes, the victim should be allowed to remain anonymous and fucking name and shame the bad guy.
Yeah?
I'd probably get rid of that law.
Okay. It's an interesting one.
You see, I don't know if this is like abolishing or tweaking or what this is, but you know when someone, the other way in Ireland, now I know Americans go a bit overboard with it, but like in Ireland we don't have any, it's like, if somebody breaks into your house, you're not allowed to kill that person. I think you should be allowed to kill that person.
You are now.
What?
Like, you're allowed to defend your house in Ireland now. But, like, it's like, for example, the distinction is if you're upstairs and they're downstairs, you can't go down and kill them. Like,
why not?
If they come upstairs and you believe you're a threat, you're allowed to defend yourself. So
see that's bollocks. If they're downstairs, they're in your house. You know what I mean? Like, it's the sort of person who breaks into a house. It's not like you're a scumbag. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. And I hate this whole, like, you hear it on the radio all the time, people arguing about it, where, like, someone is getting tried for murder because someone broke into their house and they killed them. And you get one person like, they didn't deserve to die. It's like, well, I mean, why is he breaking into people's houses? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I used to work with a guy who went out and got really drunk one night and accidentally let himself into his neighbour's house. I thought it was his own and passed out on their sofa. Like, if you abolish that law, they could have killed him.
Yeah, but I think it's a sacrifice worth making. I mean, like, I'm sure they wouldn't, though. You see, this is what I mean. Like, Americans go quite, overboard. But, like, if you hop on, I don't know.
They're like in America, you have burglars suing homeowners because they got hurt trying to burgle their house and stuff. Like, that's ridiculous.
So, just for me, I think you should be allowed to kill people who break into your house. I don't really see the counter-argument, really.
I'm going to introduce a law, perhaps a bit controversial. I think, and this is extreme, but I would make the criteria really loose. I think there should be a license to breed.
A license to what?
A license to breed. Like, to have children.
Oh, I thought you meant air, oxygen.
No, I think there should be, like, and this is, like, severe, but more so around children and around people, stricter laws around people who are allowed to care for children. So not necessarily you can't have children because there's no way of enforcing or stopping that. But, for example, if you're found to have failed a drug test, like, your children can be taken off you immediately. Like, there needs to be some kind of strict lines on, like, and this is more as a deterrent than a punishment rather than it should be, we can come down on you and take your kids off you like that if we found out you've used drugs. I think a lot of people would stop. I think, you're going to have a messy transition phase, but I think that, for me, children being raised in, like, bad homes is messing up children. It's messing up our future, and we need to scare people off. That's why I'd be very strict on that kind of thing. I've got a whole thing on this. I could go for half an hour, but it's very late and we've taped it a lot tonight, so I'm going to leave it there. License to breed. Vote Rick 2020.
Well, we need a dog license, don't we? Like, if you want to have dogs.
Yeah.
But, like, with kids, it's like, fuck it.
Be grand. Yeah, we gotta think of
okay, kids are shit. Like,
poor drug addicted parents. We gotta think of them. They're victims. That's I could go for a while on this. Anyway, guys, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you for your questions. We'll be back next week with the flagship and Ask Low Blows. But until then, tweet us in at #LowBlows with anything you want answered. But until next week, for Katie Harvey, for Corporate King, I've been Rick Nash, and that's the bottom line. So I said so.